Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And today, just to let you know, if you're not already aware, is the first day of Advent. That doesn't mean you go and rush open your Advent calendars. That doesn't start until the 1st of December. But today in the Christian calendar, it is the first day of Advent. So a little shout out to my mum, who should be going to church today at some point. So again, that's what they'll all be celebrating in church today. Anyway, just to let you know, the weather today, as you can see, it's a bit gloomy. Can I say thank you to Amanda for a concise weather forecast? She said, good morning, Ginge. Sunday's weather, still orange alert for thunderstorms. Partly sunny in the morning, but heavy rains in the afternoon. Temperature 20 degrees Celsius, but it's going to feel like 18. Have a great day. Thank you for that, my lovely. And again, I've got to be honest, it is looking a bit grim, a bit dull and overcast. I was walking up to the road a little bit earlier and I could hear there's a football game going on down at the back behind us. We have a football pitch. Yes, a proper football pitch, more or less just behind the house. And you could hear the sound of young voices enjoying the noble art of football, shouting and screaming and kicking the ball about. So things, despite everything that's gone on in the last 48 hours, people are slowly getting their lives back together, despite everything. But I will come into that a little bit more detail during my news, all right? I've got some interesting stories about what's been going on in the last little period of time. And also, is that rain or is that my ears? No, that's my ears. I thought it was raining. It was the cars driving by. But anyway, I was actually looking at last year's broadcast on this day last year. And you know what? There was a hope of optimism in my broadcast last year. And the weather was glorious this time last year. So I might put a link up so you can watch last year's 28th of November in comparison to this year's. But anyway, I haven't finished my broadcast yet. Big shout out to Shane Bowen up there on Exmoor. Ginge, Galimera Ginge from Exmoor. Where is it? I've lost it now. It's gone. Anyway, people are starting, somebody said they've already opened their advent calendar and started eating the chocolates already. Mr. Iggy, you shouldn't be doing that, all right? Anyway, listen, let's just crack on with the news. What's been going on in the last 24 hours here in Greece, and also a little bit of look at the UK as well, because the madness has been ramped up and a big feeling of deja vu, all right? Anyway, let's start off with COVID infections in the last 24 hours in Greece. Yesterday, I did say to you, 6,602 new infections across the country. The day before that, we had 6,565 new infections across the country. Well, today I can report 5,870 new infections across the country. So the numbers, to be honest, are going up and down. That's the best way to describe the infection rate here in Greece. We had 12 new cases identified after checks into the country. That's down on the day before, where we had 14. Now, according to the national stats, and don't forget, tomorrow I will give you the whole of the stats for the week, all right, all calculated up, and we can do a comparison to the weeks before. But anyway, within the last 24 hours, Lefkada has had 6 new cases on their island. That's down on the day before, where they had 12. Corfu, they've had 85 new infections on their island, and that is also down on the day before, where they'd had 114. Kefalonia, they had 12 new infections the day before. Well, in fact, they've had 17 now. So their numbers have gone up slightly. And as for Zakynthos, we had 14 on my last report. And today I can report that we've had 17 new cases. So again, our infection rate has gone up slightly. Just to remind you that Lefkada is in the green. Corfu is in dark red. Kefalonia is in amber. And we, Zakynthos, are still in the light shade of red. So we're not yet into the top stage as in the dark red. Anyway, just another little bit of information that just caught my eye this morning. Early next month, it will be 2 years since the first case of COVID-19 was officially reported in China. Anyway, so far there have been, they reckon, 261 million cases recorded worldwide and about 5.19 million deaths, although they are talking about a true figure of about 9 and 21 million. I've got a feeling that those figures don't actually add up right. But anyway, just to let you know, it's been almost 2 years now since it was first actually recognised. But anyway, let's move on to look at deaths at the moment. Now, here in Greece, deaths have dropped just ever so slightly. I did report to you yesterday 86 new deaths across the country. Today I can report 82 new deaths, bringing the death toll at the moment up to 17,861. Again, 95.3% of those people had underlying diseases or were over the age of 70. Interestingly, on my last year's report, deaths were average age of 80, so that age has dropped slightly over the last year or so. But anyway, our condolences to those families that are affected, especially being so close to Christmas. Our condolences. When it comes to ICU infections, those numbers, again, they have been starting to creep up. Yesterday, I did report we had 630 new infections across Greece. Well, that number has, ICUs, people in ICUs. Let's get that right, Ginge. And the number now today is 641. Now, of those critical cases, 338 of those are male, 258 of those are female. The average age of those people in ICUs is around about 65 years of age with underlying health conditions or over the age of 70. Now, regarding critical patients, 518 of them are vaccinated or partially vaccinated, and 123 of them are fully vaccinated. Right then, today's news then. A very disturbing story, actually, the first story at the moment that caught my eye yesterday evening. A 43-year-old mother of two from Drama, who had been hospitalised in an ICU at Calabria Hospital, passed away yesterday. Now, before her death, she wrote letters to her families and friends, including her regrets that she did not get vaccinated. Her brother has posted one letter on Facebook in the hope that it will persuade the unvaccinated to get vaccines. She wrote, "I'm 43 years old. I have two small children, Theodora and Giakis. I am in hospital in the COVID ward in Calabria. If only I had gone for the vaccine, I might not be in this situation." A very sad story. I'm not going to speculate too much on this, all right, because I'm in two minds as to the validity. If somebody was that ill, I don't think they'd be capable of writing, or something was written for her. I did hear reports that in the summer, people were being asked to write media things to promote people getting vaccinated. I'm not saying this is not true, but I take it with a pinch of salt, and unless somebody actually knows this person or the family involved, if you're dying and somebody says to you, "We'll give you $5,000 so your children are okay," then obviously I think some people would take the money and do that. So again, it's a story that is basically to push the agenda for people to have the vaccine, which I'm not against. I'm not against that at all. It should still be your choice. She obviously had a choice for not wanting to do it, and then maybe it was too late towards the end for her to have the vaccine. I don't know the ins and outs, but at the end of the day, these kind of stories are there to push an agenda for those people who do not want to be vaccinated, like myself, to try and get them to change their mind. But anyway, I'll keep an eye on these type of stories, and I'll see if any more of these come out. But the government is still on this, let's get the vaccine, we want you vaccinated, despite everything that's going on now, where with this new variant that's now coming in, it seems that it is not possible now that the vaccine that you've already had is going to be able to fight this new variant that's coming. However, a second vaccination shift has been started at the Health Center here in Zakynthos. Since the attendance is large with many appointments on a daily basis, it is not known whether the bans that now are imposed on the unvaccinated or the fear of the new wave and mutations has played a role in people wanting to get the vaccine. But the fact is that many of our fellow citizens who were initially skeptical are changing their minds. And that is what the local press is saying. So once again, if you want to get the vaccine, there is now a second shift in basically occurring. So now you can go and be vaccinated probably in the morning or in the afternoon, depending on when they can fit you in for your appointment. Anyway, I've got to be honest. Yesterday afternoon, watching the news in the UK and reading the news in the UK, it was just depressing, and also a bit of deja vu as well was creeping in, especially with the new restrictions that are being slapped on travel to countries in southern Africa, as the world is now implementing measures on Saturday to contain the new Omicron variant of the coronavirus that has a potential to be more resistant to the protection offered by vaccines and boosters we currently have. Now, a host of countries, including Australia, Brazil, Canada, Iran, Japan, Thailand, and the United States, joined others, which included the European Union and the UK, in imposing restrictions on southern African countries in response to a warning over the transmissibility of the new variant against the advice of the World Health Organization. So the World Health Organization is a bit dubious about this as well. Anyway, pharmaceutical companies expressed optimism that they could finesse their vaccines to deal with the new variant, though it would clearly take some time. Anyway, despite the banning of flights, there are mounting concerns that the variant has already been widely seeded around the world. Cases have been reported in travellers in Belgium, Israel and Hong Kong. Anyway, on Saturday, Britain confirmed that 2 linked cases of the new Omicron variant, while Germany indicated it has a probable case. Dutch authorities are also checking for new variants after 61 passengers on 2 flights from South Africa tested positive for COVID-19. Meanwhile, a German official said that there's a very high probability that the Omicron variant has already arrived in their country. Keir Kloos, the health minister of the Hesse state, which includes Frankfurt, said in a tweet that several mutations typical of Omicron were found Friday night in a traveller returning from South Africa who was isolated at home. Sequencing of a test has yet to be completed. Now, interestingly, Cyprus has banned the arrival of a number of African states, including South Africa, Botswana, Zimbabwe, following the detection of the new COVID-19 variant. Now, the island's health minister said the travel ban applied to persons who had travelled from or through South Africa, Namibia, Lesotho, Eswatini, Zambia, Mozambique, Malawi and Botswana over the past 14 days. Now, interestingly, the ban does not apply to Cypriot, EU nationals, nationals of the European Economic Area, Switzerland, or permanent Cyprus residents, provided they carry a negative 72-hour PCR test and are tested again upon arrival. Now, that sounds a little bit more racist than it does medical, to be quite honest. Why is it that those people are exempt, but anybody else on those flights who don't fall into those categories are expected to isolate them for a 10-day period in specially designated hotels? However, it's not been said who's footing the bill for the isolation in those hotels, whether it is the Cypriot government or the individual, as it is with the UK. Again, we'll wait and see. But it should be one rule for all, and not cherry picking those people that are coming in on that flight, which again makes a mockery of the whole thing, of this kind of travel ban, especially with Cyprus at the moment, who are our Greek cousins. Anyway, now the health minister in the UK, Javid, said the corona super strain Omicron, that's his wording, has not raised a threat of lockdown yet. Okay, that word yet, with brackets around it, shall we say. After cases were found in Britain, despite Boris imposing another round of isolation for all UK arrivals and mandatory masks now in shops and trains. Javid said the UK would avoid another lockdown for the time being, despite the new super strain outbreak. I just love the way they just put those words in, super strain, just to push the old emphasis there. Anyway, COVID restrictions now at the moment for the UK include travel bans, testing and face masks will be necessary to fight the Omicron variant. Boris announced that all arrivals to the UK must self-isolate until they get a negative PCR test result. Now, the point is, Jane and I now are kind of worrying a bit about whether we're still going to be able to go to the UK. Trust me, we've already spent quite a bit of money just on tests and everything else to be ready for when we arrive. Plus the fact I would have to stay in isolation for up to 10 days. However, I can get out after 5 after having special PCR tests conducted, which will take place in Newcastle upon Lyme, close to Leek. But again, we've spent money actually to be prepared to go over, and now things are looking that Jane now has to go into a form of isolation until obviously tests can be performed. Anyway, and interestingly also as well, the 2 cases of the new COVID variant that were detected in the UK, one of them was detected in Nottingham and the other was detected in Brentwood, which is in Essex, for those people who don't know where that is. All right. The 2 cases of the new COVID variant were detected in Nottingham and Brentford. The Welsh government and the Scottish governments, all right, of the UK. Now they're going to be mirroring the restrictions on international travel, warning they could go even further. And this is where it all becomes political, if you ask me. The Welsh do one thing, the Scottish do one thing, and half the time it's nothing to do with it's all about politics at the end of the day. And you just feel that this is coming in. And another little aside that I also saw this morning is speculation is also growing at the moment at the World Health Organization because they're responsible for naming the new variants. But they jumped over the Greek letter C, okay, which is an X and an I. Very Chinesey looking, shall we say, the best way to describe that. But anyway, they skipped over using anything with C, with the Greek letter and the little I, because they didn't want to upset the Chinese government, because they would see that and think, oh, you're having a dig at us. But anyway, you're the lot that started it, technically, probably with the Americans, putting money into research that they shouldn't have been doing on their home soil. But we won't go there at the moment. But it's interesting that the World Health Organization, that is not in favour of what's going on in the way of restrictions and jumping the gun, have also, shall we say, because we know the Chinese are paying them whopping loads of money. Anyway, interestingly, news from both Pfizer and Biotech and Modern, the pharmaceutical companies, they have confirmed that they will have a new vaccine variant adapted to fight the Omicron variant in the near future. Pfizer has stated that if required, they will be able to supply a vaccine target at the new virus in 100 days. Yes, 100 days. That's getting on for nearly 3 months at the moment, with Modern confirming they are developing a booster vaccine that will offer increased protection against the Omicron virus. So there you go. The pharmaceutical companies already gearing up for making another round of money. For some of them, I think it'll probably be their 5th round of money, because it depends as which wave we are now in and how much more vaccine we are going to be having to produce, because the last lot is not going to work anymore on this new variant. When are we going to get used to it, that this is now another form of flu, should be treated as a flu? And again, will we ever stop taking vaccines? Somebody said to me, you're going to have arms like pincushions once they try and stop. You're never going to stop it. I think that is the bottom line of it. all you're going to have to do is live with it. Anyway, let's look at Zakynthos and what's been going on here since we got hit by a tornado the other day. The emergency services of the regional unit of Zakynthos, who dealt with the consequences of the heavy rains which left behind serious damage to business and homes, proved to be immediate and crucial. Now, throughout the night of the big storm, they remained on standby for the protection and safety of citizens. In particular, they started at 6 a.m. on the morning of Thursday, where all the staff of all the departments of civil protection and technical services were on the streets and able to alleviate the problems as they arose. Now, 15 construction vehicles, 7 trucks and 2 small bobcats, their little tractor devices with a shovel on the front, they intervened into calls which came not only from the police, but they also came from the presidents of the local communities, like the village muktas, and also from private citizens who were getting directly in touch with them. Obviously, they were out and about containing things from serious landslides, falling of small rocks, and also mud that was also recorded on the roads as well. They were very busy in the area of Argasi, Basilikos, Zakynthos, Agala, and Limonaki as well. They were very busy there. Now, they also did a lot of flood clearing on the roads between Zakynthos and Kalamaki. That's the Kateo road, where the old station used to be for getting your cars tested. They also were very busy in the surrounding areas of Kalamaki, Mazaki, Lithakia, Kerry, Vanuatu, Kalapido, Anogalaska, Alicanaz, Planos, Trigaki, Ramiri, Likudi, also Kalapaki, the Zakynthos to Ramiri Road, the Palomara Bridge also, and the Exvita Bridge as well. They were very busy doing pumping out, reinforcing, or basically trying to sort out problems that those areas had. Now, checks were performed on the hotels and homes that were flooded by damage from the tornado, and the wider area of Amber Lockerbie and the airport, Castellius, the main road of Laguna, and also Preacher Street and Demetrius as well. I'm not exactly sure where those are, but I think they're just around the area around by where the fire station is, and also up towards the turnoffs towards Laguna and around there. So there was lots of heavy flooding around there. Now, flood control interventions are going to continue from one end of the island to the other. Prevention has proven to have been effective even in natural phenomena in places that are tested in very heavy rainfalls. Removed materials are removed and clearing is done, so it will continue for the safety of citizens. Now, there was a lot of clearing of a lot of the irrigation ditches along the side of the road, where basically, or storm drains as I know them as from my times in Cyprus. There was a lot of work in the summer clearing a lot of these areas, and a lot of that work seems to have paid off basically in keeping a lot of the water away from flooding in those areas, although flooding did happen in some areas. Anyway, as I said yesterday, I wonder if there'll be some kind of fund or some compensation set up by the Greek government to compensate those people who have been hit very hard by the weather. Well, yes, that has been announced. That was announced yesterday. The victims of the weather phenomenon are now requested to submit their applications for compensation with the regional unit of Zakynthos, and for houses in the municipality of Zakynthos as well. So again, if you were affected or had some damage to your business, if you get in touch, in fact, your best bet, I would say, is get in touch with your accountant, explain the situation to them, and your accountant will obviously be able to direct you, or maybe even help you with filling in your application for the problem you may have had with whatever damage has been caused by the actual storm itself. And finally, a nice bit of a happy story, despite what's gone on here. Man in his tractor driving on, checking his crop. Anyway, a lucky couple here on Zakynthos were very lucky when they were driving up Pelican Street, which we better know as Brits as Bockley Hill. just outside Zakynthos, where the open air theatre is. On the night of the big storm, they were driving their car up that hill when all of a sudden, as they got level with the amphitheatre, a tree came down and literally crashed right across their car, trapping the couple inside the car. Anyway, luckily, they were able to summon help. The fire brigade came along and they were able to actually open or cut them free from the car. The car obviously suffered extreme damage, so there's a claim going in straight away, unless they call it an act of God. But anyway, a saint must have been looking out for them because both of them were unhurt. They were rescued safe and sound. That's what the local paper has said. But in the meantime, as that tree was falling, as it fell, it took out the power supply in that area. And basically, there was a blackout on that hillside. So once again, they are a very lucky couple, safe and sound. Again, hats off to the emergency services who were able to get them out. And also, you had the danger of electric and everything else and all that water as well as they were going in to get that couple out of that car. So they could have been electrocuted as well as being crushed by that falling tree. So once again, just be aware, the roads are a little bit dodgy at the moment, although Jane and we are going to be going out this afternoon to feed the cats down in Kalamaki. It's going to be interesting, one, to have a look at the damage down there and also to see how many cats have managed to survive the storms as well, or whether they just went to ground for the duration and just waited it out as most animals will do. But anyway, we'll find out today as well. Excuse me. Also as well, can I just say hello to Mr. Iggy? Thank you for your little messages there at the moment. Just to remind you that the Northern Soul show goes out tonight on beachradio.co.uk. That goes out at 5 p.m. in the UK or 7 p.m. Greek time. 2 hours of uplifting Northern Soul. Just love that music to death. Really, really do. So come and join us. I'll be in the chat room. Have a little chat. Got to say a quick hello to Sam Curtis. I've just seen your message come up as well. It says, good morning, Ginge, from a sunny but cold Brighton. Amazing dance anthems this weekend as normal. Getting a new list ready for you soon. Can't wait to listen back to it. Stay safe. Yeah, just to let you know that the dance anthem show from this weekend, I'll be putting that up online as well within the next hour or so. So if you didn't manage to listen to it on Beats Radio, or you did listen to it on Beats Radio and you just want to hear it again, great remix of a song by the Carpenters, which I thought was a bit in there, just blow me old trumpet a bit. So again, come and have a listen. All right, I'd love you too. Right, quick shout out to those people who are tuning in. A lot of people tuning in today because it's Sunday, a day of rest. Never for me though, never for me. Fiona Hutton, she says, my favourite music. She's obviously talking about the Northern Soul, or maybe the Carpenters, I'm not sure. Ray Humphrey says, good morning, Ginge. Who else have I got? Dennis Patrick Carroll over there in Cyprus. Hello, mate. How are you doing? It seems you can travel to South Africa and come back, mate, and you don't get put in quarantine. How lucky are you, sir? And how crazy is the Cypriot government at the moment? Yeah. But anyway, nice to have you tuning in. Brian Darlington looking in as well. Barbara Telfer is watching as well. Dave Camp is watching. I read about your motorcycle getting nicked, fella. I've got to be honest, fella. It's a lovely looking bike. I don't know if you're just going for the insurance claim or you're hoping to get it back, but it looked lovely. And again, I tell you what, there's a great thing on YouTube, this tracker that you can fit onto your motorcycles or on your bike. I'm not sure of the name of the company, but I'm sure you'll find it. And these guys are amazing at the way they track down stolen motorcycles, stolen HGVs, stolen plants. You know, if you've got generators and diggers and mixers, they seem to be able to track these down far more efficiently than what the police are able to do. Although they do call the police when they're going for a pickup to get stolen stuff back, just in case they might need a bit of backup, or they're not treading on any toes anywhere. So again, Dave, you might want to look into that. Keep your bike safe. The amount of bike theft in the UK is phenomenal. Sam Harrison says, new media putting the fear of God into people again. Yes, I agree with you 100%, Sam. That is so true. The news media have got to take responsibility for what they say. A lot of people, unfortunately, only read the headline and don't read the story underneath. So the headline is there to grab attention, get you to look at it. But the problem with a lot of people, they don't read the detail. And in the detail is where you find the true story, which might even contradict the headline that you're reading. So thank you for that, Sam. I do appreciate that you realise that. Big shout out to Sid James. He's a big Northern Soul fan. Nice to have you looking in. Somebody's just said to me, keep the faith. I'm not sure who that is at the moment. Bob Monroe's looking in. Margaret Miller. Shane Bowen says, naughty Mr. Iggy. I want to. We won't say no more of that. Anyway, David Douglas says, what did David Douglas say? I can't find it now. It's just disappeared. Right. Sean Gibbons is also tuning in as well. Is that the same Sean Gibbons? No, I'm thinking of somebody else, Gibbons, who lives in Gibraltar at the moment. Now, there's a place, 100% vaccinations for everybody in Gibraltar, and yet they are still getting problems, and they're also going for the booster. So if anybody's a model for how lockdowns don't work, how full vaccinations is not fully working, all right, look at Gibraltar. That's all I'll say. Right, that's it from me. Can I just say thank you to all those people that have been tuning in this morning. This broadcast obviously gets uploaded to YouTube. Can I say a big shout out to the lovely lady, Lorraine, over there on the Peloponnese area in Naflion, who coordinates the Greece's bulletin board, daily bulletin board. Basically, DJ Ginge, you talk so much sense, all the bullshit going around. Thank you very much at the moment. Thank you very much. I just saw that. That was Catherine Wilson Rumsey who said that. Thank you so much. And also for looking after the cats. Oh, bless you. Right, listen, I better go because I've got to get these things up. I also want to make Jane breakfast. Also get ourselves ready. Deciding which vehicle we're going to take to go down and check on the cats today. I think we'll probably be going in the car, and we'll have a look and see some of the damage as well that especially Kalamaki has been hit by, and find out if all the little cats have managed to survive what's the tornado. All right, I'll leave it at that. You take care. Have a great day, and I'll be back in touch. Ta-ra.